Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. And in today's video, we are going to be continuing Naruto Polaris, The Fallen Star. What if Hanabi Hyuga was born first? Part 23 of the Momoshiki arc. As always, if you are new to the channel or if you're a regular and like what we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. As we continue on in the Momoshiki arc, we now reach the beginning stages of what will soon be the Chunin exams. Although, there will be a bit more twists than you would once expect for this story to have. With the series of Boruto still being written out, there are a lot of new revelations that are coming to light. Now, of course, those are topics and subjects that we'll get into later down the road. But with this story, pay close attention to the things happening around our main characters, as they will be pushed into different areas never before seen, as our young hero in Boruto will now be at a crossroads to decide what type of shinobi he wants to be going forward. But for all this and more, stay tuned as we now continue Naruto Polaris, The Fallen Star. What if Hanabi Hyuga was born first, Part 23. As always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Neji and Hideo would watch as Boruto would charge against Momo. Boruto and his 5 shadow clones following close behind, each one looking to get into a different area to catch her off guard. A futile effort as the Byakugan was able to see 365 degrees. There was nothing that could sneak up on it, nothing that could get past it. However, Boruto was aware of this fact. This was little more than a simple diversion, or what would appear to be a pathetic attempt at one. The real Boruto would attempt to go for a feint punch to the right, while another clone would go for a feint kick to the left. The real Boruto charging from the front with another clone charging from the back. However, Boruto was aware that this strategy wasn't going to work. However, it wasn't supposed to be about attacking from a blind spot. While Boruto was aware of the Hyuga blind spot, without having a Byakugan himself at the moment, he'd have no way of truly exploiting it to its fullest extent. You see, even if Boruto was not able to manifest a Byakugan, he was still trained in the way of the gentle fist. He still knew the intricacies of the Byakugan. As such, he knew that one of the best ways to fight against it was to simply overwhelm it, to try to attack from any and everywhere all at once, for one's own moves to be as unorthodox as possible. The way of overwhelming the opponent, to try to get them to lose focus even for a second, that was what Boruto was aiming for. However, Momo was the daughter of Neji Hyuga, not someone to be underestimated in that regard. Momo had the patience and the fortitude drilled into her from a young age. She wouldn't allow herself to be overwhelmed by a few enemies, to miss any detail that was around her. Effortlessly, Momo would take out the clones one by one. She smiled as now only the original Boruto remained as she charged towards him. Using your clones as a distraction, just like Uncle Naruto. I must say, you fight just like your old man. However, I believe that's where the similarities come to an end, wouldn't you agree? Boruto quickly changed his stance and matched with Momo, as the two engaged in a flurry of gentle fist taijutsu. But your gentle fist has gotten better. I'm definitely impressed. I'm not just the son of the Hokage, you know. I'm just as much Hyuga as you are. Boruto would flip over Momo, catching her from behind, as he launched a series of palm strikes to her back. Momo spinning around, trying to kick his legs from underneath him. However, Boruto jumping to avoid as the two continued their clash once again. Neji and Hideo would look on from a distance. His nephew had definitely improved a good bit. For someone to not even have the Byakugan, to have the ability to fight on par with the Hyuga with the gentle fist technique, it was truly remarkable. Of course, Momo actually having the Byakugan ended up having the advantage. And she had the advantage in another regard. She was capable of using the rotation. In doing so, she sent Boruto flying. Ultimately, Boruto had no way of breaking through the defense of the rotation, despite his best efforts. He attempted to overpower it using the lightning-style thunderclap arrow, along with the air-style gale force palm, hoping to add enough pressure and firepower to his attack to break through the defense of the rotation. However, it would prove to be useless in this regard, and Boruto's jutsu would be sent flying. When the fight came to a close, Boruto would lie on the ground on his back, looking up at the sky. Neji would call for the fight to come to an end and the two would stand once more. Momo looked towards Boruto as she deactivated her Sharingan. The boy wasn't bad by any means. He had gotten better, it was just a matter of, well, in either case, Boruto didn't let it bother him. At least that's how it appeared. The two would perform the unison sign, and the fight would be over. Neji walked over to his daughter and to his nephew. "You two were very impressive," Neji would say. "Boruto, you've improved so much since the last time I saw you. Although I must say," Boruto would look to Neji, "I think that you could still go a lot higher." "Yeah, thanks, Uncle Neji. It was just something I had to see for myself to be sure. And now I kinda know what I need to do. Thank you." Boruto would bow gracefully. However, before leaving, Neji grabbed him by the collar and pulled him back into a hug, wishing his nephew well and telling him to stop by anytime. Boruto walked back home slowly through the streets of Konoha, the bright lights shining around him as the night sky filled the air. Boruto kept his head down though, thinking about things. This was something that had been bothering Boruto for a long time. Ever since he was old enough to walk and old enough to think for himself, he always knew that his father was important. As a young boy, whenever he walked beside his father, everyone in the village always seemed to give him attention. Everyone seemed to notice Naruto no matter where he went. Boruto, the honorable son of the 7th Hokage, grandson of the 4th, son of one of the heirs to the Hyuga clan, one of the noble clans of Konoha. For Boruto, his whole life, even if he never wanted to believe it, was marred by the shadow that was his father. From a young age, children always looked to him with high expectations and praise. "You're the son of the 7th Hokage. You can do it, can't you?" Why did Boruto do the things that he did? Why did he even bother learning some of the jutsu he did? Yeah, because his father knew it. Boruto didn't hate his father. Sure, they had their rough patches at times. Each generation does with the next. Sometimes they didn't see eye to eye on everything. There was a period in Boruto's life where he had to make adjustments to the fact that his mother and father both weren't going to be home as much as they wanted to be. However, thankfully Boruto still had his sister. He still had his cousins, Momo and Hideo. During that time in his life, he was able to see the bigger picture. Don't get him wrong, he still didn't like it all the time. In a perfect world, he wished his father was home more. That didn't change. But still, he learned not to hold on to such a selfish desire. In the end, what his father did was for the benefit and for the help of the entire village and everyone that needed him. As much as Boruto would hate to actually admit it to himself, he couldn't be selfish with his own father. It was something he simply had to come to terms with and something he'd have to live with. But in the back of his mind, it made Boruto wonder, why did he even become a shinobi? Did he do it for his own merit, or simply because being a shinobi would be the only way to stay in his father's line of sight? If he wasn't a ninja, would he ever really see his father at all? At least outside of the ninja business that he had to conduct. And even then, was he really cut out to be a ninja? He couldn't even beat Momo. Sure, he won Rookie of the Year, but that was only because Mitsuki joined the class in the final few months before graduation. Plus, it was a small class to begin with, and even then, the few people in the boys' class that really could have challenged him were, for the most part, just coasting at that point. Did Boruto only win it by default? Was he really as good as he thought he was? Boruto thought more and more about what he had been given, the scientific ninja tool. If Boruto was good at anything, it was figuring out how to use tools and things like that. If that was the case, then maybe it would allow him a chance. But could he really do it? Could he really go through with it? As Boruto arrived to his home, he saw someone standing at the doorway looking as though they were getting ready to leave. It was a man dressed in a dark cloak. He had black hair, and his hair was covering his left eye. It was a short cut. The man seemed to be carrying a sword underneath his cloak as Boruto walked towards him and the man followed suit. Can I help you? I'm sorry. I thought that Hanabi Uzumaki, or Naruto Uzumaki would be here at the moment. Oh, you mean my mom and dad? No, sometimes they aren't really here until really late. I see. Well, I'm sorry to disturb. Oh, it's fine. Who are you? I'm Sasuke. Sasuke Uchiha. Really? You're Sarada's dad? You know Sarada. I see. You must be on her team then. Boruto, right? Yeah, that's me. Well, have a good night, Boruto. Sasuke would walk away, but Boruto, he was a bit in awe. He had heard stories about Sasuke Uchiha. Stories from his mother and father, yes. He always sounded like a living legend, like a shadow in the night. For Boruto, he kind of thought that concept was cool. When he thought about the characters and the different types of media that he watched, he was always a fan of the hero that lurked in the shadows, the silent protector. Someone who didn't do it for the fame, who didn't do it for the adulation. Maybe it was because they just didn't want it, or because it just didn't suit them. But in the end, that's kind of like how Boruto felt. Everyone always looked to Boruto with great expectations. Like the idea that he could be Hokage someday. And sure, Boruto floated the idea around a bit. I mean, on pure nepotism, he could probably get the role. After all, the number of shinobi were decreasing slowly as time went on. Not as many people gung-ho for the idea of becoming a ninja, or for taking the title of Hokage. Plus, Boruto had the connections and the advantage. If he truly wanted it, just off of name power alone, he could probably get it. But in the end, he really didn't want it that way. He didn't want it at all. If he never got credit for anything, he'd be fine with it. If no one knew who he was, he'd be fine with it. At least, that's what he thought. This Sasuke, what if he could be like him? Could Sasuke be the way? The way that he needed to go in life? Boruto would have to find that out for himself. In the meantime, Sasuke would arrive to the Hokage's tower, where Naruto and Hanabi were sitting at his desk, going over a few documents. Hanabi needed them filled out for the hospital, and she decided to come and visit Naruto and drop off a change of clothes and some dinner. Am I interrupting something? No, not at all, Sasuke, Naruto would say. I'm back from my mission to Kaguya's dimension. I see. You find anything? Sasuke would pull out a ninja scroll. This contains details about Kaguya's life. You should have the intelligence team analyze it as soon as possible. Sure thing, I'll get to it. We missed you at Himawari's birthday party, Hanabi would say to Sasuke. Oh, that's right, you have a daughter as well. How old has she turned? She just turned 10, Naruto would say. 10 years old. Has it really been that long? Well, yeah. You'd know if you stopped and visit the village more. I mean, look at Sarada and Sakumo. They're both growing like weeds. I mean, at this point, we're gonna have to start talking about getting them higher up the ninja ranks sooner or later. Sasuke merely rolled his eyes at that comment. But really though, he hadn't been home in a while. He should check to see how his wife, daughter, and son are doing. Although, even still, the more he was gone, the more awful he felt about it. It wasn't like he wanted to leave them or anything. It was just that he had responsibilities to do things that only he could do. I ran into your son tonight. Really? Naruto would say. Ran into Boruto, huh? He's definitely something. Almost a spitting image of you. The two would smile and laugh at this. Yeah, Naruto would say. But honestly, outside of looks, he's a lot different than you think. Oh, come on now, Hanabi would say. He's your son. He's the spitting image of you. Yeah, but sometimes I don't really connect with him the way I wish I could. You know? I mean, yeah, when it comes to having children and all, they say that they're like your shadow clone in a sense. And in some ways I can see it, but in other ways, there are so many things about him that I rarely ever take a time to notice. And honestly, I haven't really been there as much as I should have been. Sasuke would look at Naruto and Hanabi the same. We both haven't. Our children are growing up so fast, and yet we don't seem to be as attentive as we should be. Before long, they'll be off starting families of their own. Hey now. My baby girl's not getting married off anytime soon, Naruto would say, causing Sasuke to smile and for Hanabi to laugh. She's gonna probably do so eventually, my love. Are you really going to stop her from getting married? As long as I'm Hokage. I only want the best for my daughter. There's no way I'm just gonna let her marry off to anyone. You definitely have that protective spirit, Naruto, Sasuke would say. But I think your son will be fine. After all, no matter what the era, the soul of the shinobi would never change. And just from one look at him, he's a lot more like you than you think. The next day would arrive. Boruto would begin looking around, hoping he could find Sasuke. Maybe this was his only chance. There was only a few weeks until the Chunin exams. 6 to be specific. If he could find Sasuke, maybe that could be the direction he needed. It took a while, but eventually Boruto would find him. He was resting in a park, enjoying the lunch, as he was going to be staying in the village at least until the end of the Chunin exams. After all, he needed some time to recover himself, and there were some things he'd have to go over before his next mission. Mr. Sasuke! Sasuke turned to see Boruto standing there. Boruto, what is it? If you don't mind, do you think you could train me? Train you? Why not train with your father or your sensei? Well, it's just, I really don't think that style will get me where I need to go. What do you mean? Well, it's just, don't get me wrong, I would love to train with them, but Dad's always busy. And with Konohamaru Sensei, I just don't think I'll learn what I really need to. And what exactly do you need to learn? I need to get stronger. I'll never improve the way that I am now. I'm stagnating for some reason, and I don't know why. You're stagnating? Well, it's just, everyone says I have this potential within me, but for some reason, I just don't know how to draw it out. I was hoping maybe you could help. You're as strong as my mom and my dad. If anyone can, it's you. You give me a lot of praise, Boruto. But really, I'm not all that special. There are a lot of other people who could train you a lot better than me. But I really want to train with you. Please, I'll do anything. Alright then. Can you create a Rasengan? A Rasengan? Your father's signature jutsu. If you can create a Rasengan, then I'll train you. Boruto would be excited by the prospect. If learning the Rasengan was all he had to do, he could do it in no time. He would go to Konohamaru Sensei immediately. Of course, he would have asked his father, but that would be next to impossible. So Konohamaru, another user of the Rasengan, that would be just as capable of learning it himself. Boruto would get to work on the steps to learn the Rasengan. After a week's time, he would arrive to Sasuke with what he had. It was small, a bit tiny, and purple. Sasuke would think to himself, is that really the best you can do? Boruto, for all of that hard work, this was what he could produce? This was the best he could do? Sasuke noticed something about Boruto's Rasengan. He tried to tell him, but the boy simply ran off, ashamed that his effort to produce something so pitiful and tiny. As Boruto would arrive back home, all alone as he walked to his room, he reached on the top shelf of his closet and pulled out the small box with the scientific ninja tool inside. He thought about the words of the hooded man that gave it to him. Should he use it? Was that the best move? What if this was all he had? Had Boruto stagnated in his power? What if he couldn't go any higher? If that was the case, he would always be left behind. And then, he'd just end up forgotten. Boruto put it on. After loading the jutsu scroll inside, he produced a Rasengan. He could feel its power within his hand. It wasn't his own, but still, this was what it was like to use the Rasengan in full. Boruto would meet with Sasuke again, this time performing a full Rasengan. Much to Sasuke's surprise at how quickly Boruto was able to improve it. Boruto smiled. However, his smile was faint. Sasuke could see it. He knew the truth. You should be proud of yourself. You performed a Rasengan, didn't you? Yeah. You know, if I were like you, and I learned a jutsu like that, I'd be overstatic. And yet you learned an A-ring technique, and it doesn't seem to bring you any satisfaction. It's just... Boruto was about to say something, although he quickly ignored it. Was there any point in bringing it up now? It didn't matter. As he turned, ready to accept Sasuke's answer, Sasuke would tell Boruto to sit. Boruto would do so, and then Sasuke would ask him something. "Tell me, Boruto," Sasuke would ask. "What do you want?" "What do I want?" "Yes. What's your goal, your dream? Everyone has one, especially children your age." "That's the thing. I don't really have a dream." "You don't?" "No. I mean, I'm not like my father, or Saraya. I don't have dreams of being a Hokage. I don't have any big or lofty goals, or anything like that. Maybe I'm just stupid, but in the end, I just don't really think I'm cut out for those type of things. I'm not really built to have this great big aspiration to stand atop in front of everyone." "I see. So you have no desire to be a leader. But tell me, what makes you happy?" "Well, I'm happy when I see others are happy. I love being around my family and my friends. To see the smiles on their faces, when I see how hard they've worked and how hard they've come, to see them put their efforts into everything that they do, it brings me joy." "I see. So you're not happy for yourself, but you're happy for the sakes of others. Someone who puts the wills and the needs of others ahead of oneself. Is that what you are?" That sounded like him to a T. Sasuke would smile a bit. "He's just like you, big brother." "So tell me then, are these the ones you want to protect?" "Of course! I'd do anything to protect them." "Then tell me, could you give your arm for them?" "My arm?" "Yes. Could you give your arm for your friends and family?" If I needed to?" "That's not the answer. It's a simple yes or no. Can you give your arm for them?" "Yes." "Can you really? Can you give up an eye? A leg? Can you give up a part of yourself? All of yourself? To protect the ones you care about? Could you give your life?" Boruto didn't know how to answer that. He had never really thought about it. Could he give his life? Would he give his life? Of course he would. At least he thinks he would. But does he really? Would he know? "Boruto, I believe that you can grow to be a fine shinobi. The talent is all within you. You're far greater than any tool could ever make you. So you know. It'll take a long time before you can hide anything from me," Sasuke would say. "I see. Then I guess I failed." "You passed, Boruto." "What?" "I told you to make a Rasengan and you did. You already passed. So why did you feel the need to try to deceive me?" "But my Rasengan, it was..." Sasuke would point to a tree that had a dent in it. "I want you to make the Rasengan you made before, but don't do anything else to it, okay?" Boruto did as instructed, creating the tiny Rasengan. Now I want you to throw it at that same tree. But it won't just do it. Boruto would throw the Rasengan and it seemingly vanished, as if it wisped into thin air. See? It's not strong enough to last. In the end, The tree would spark once more. It sounded like it had been hit again by a strong punch, and now the dent was even deeper. What the? How did it? You didn't notice it at the time because of your frustrations. Your Rasengan did hit. It's not weak. I was running it over with my Sharingan, and I was able to see what you've done to it. You added lightning release to the Rasengan. Wait, what? But how did I? Based off of my estimations, I'm guessing it has to do with your natural chakra reserves. They are decent for a child your age, even above average, but they're nothing like your father's. The problem is that you keep thinking like your father when you shouldn't. You are not your father, Boruto. I know that. But in a way, you're just like him. You're just like him, but you're not him. You're something else entirely. Boruto tried to figure out what Sasuke meant, and Sasuke would break it down. Your father is like a nuke. He's a great ball and mass of energy. He's something entirely powerful and out of this world. Out of everyone that I've ever met, there is no one like Naruto Uzumaki. I know, he's great and powerful and all these things, but that translates to how he fights Naruto, Sasuke would say. Your father has a lot of power, and he fights like someone with a lot of power. Overwhelming dominant force. You, on the other hand, are something else entirely different. If your father was a sword, you are a kunai. Okay? But isn't a sword better than a kunai? Boruto, a weapon is a weapon. A sword can kill just as easily as a kunai can kill. They just do so in different ways. You fight big when you need to fight small. Instead of trying to play to strengths that you don't have, it only exposes your weakness more. Think about it. Throughout your life, how have you been fighting up until now? Really think about it. Boruto thought in that moment. How did he fight? He fought like his father did, but he also fought like his mother. You learn from them and you imitate them. And I feel like that's the problem with your training. The problem is that you haven't developed a style that's your own, something that's you. You keep trying to emulate those in front of you, but the problem is that you can never be them. You can learn their skills, yes, but you can't play into them fully. Let me guess. When you fight using the gentle fist style that you learned from the Hyuga side of your family, you fight just like your mother, even though you don't have a Byakugan, which means you can't use the gentle fist to its fullest extent, but you try to anyway. And to make up for that lack of Byakugan, you splash in fighting like your father, fighting erratically with shadow clones, to use them as distractions to try to gain the advantage, to make up for where you lack. You try to combine the skills of your mother and your father, but in the end, you end up failing because you can never utilize their skills to the fullest extent. As Boruto thought about it, it kind of started to make sense to him. You can't produce as many shadow clones as your father, but for the clones that you can produce, you try to use them exactly as your father did. The problem is that once your clones run out, you don't have any more to rely on. And when it comes to your mother's side, you fight using the gentle fist. However, without the Byakugan, you can never utilize the gentle fist to its fullest extent, now can you? I can't. Then what am I? You have to create a fighting style that's all your own. Your jutsu have to work for you just as much as you work for it. If you don't know how to use a jutsu properly, then at the end of the day, it's pointless that you try to learn it. Your Rasengan is by no means weak or inefficient. It's just that you can't use the Rasengan the way that your father did. Now tell me, do you think that you can think around that gap? What different way can you use the Rasengan than your father? You find that weakness, that flaw within yourself, and you turn it into an advantage. That is the way of a ninja. A ninja will not always have the perfect of circumstances. Sometimes you have to play with the cards that you're dealt. But even still, that's how some of the most powerful shinobi came into existence. Your grandfather didn't have a tailed beast, nor was he from any prominent clan, and yet he was feared by the nations. My sensei, someone you know very well, Kakashi Hatake, he was known as the copy ninja, but do you know that he achieved the rank of Jonin before he even gained the Sharingan? He was far skilled way before he had it, and he's more powerful now even without it. Boruto felt like he had finally had a realization, as if things had finally opened up for him. He could see things more clearly now. I think I understand. Thank you. I'm glad you were able to. Otherwise, I would have to drop you from being my student. Wait, you're still going to train me? We have about a month's worth of time. If you're willing to put in the effort, I'll train you. It won't be easy though. You're going to struggle. You're going to fall. But do you have the strength to pick yourself back up? Of course I do. Good. Then I'll be waiting for you here tomorrow. We're going to hit the ground running with the basics. The basics? Only once you get the basics can your jutsu truly be used to its fullest extent. If you're going to do whatever it takes, then that's where we have to start. Boruto would nod in understanding. Thank you. But there's something I need to do though, so I'll see you tomorrow. Sasuke would nod as Boruto would begin his journey. As he stood in the Hokage's office, Naruto would see the ninja tool on his desk. Boruto explaining everything that happened to Naruto, how he got it, and what he had done with it so far. Naruto sat back in his chair. He was proud of his son for being honest with him, for telling the truth. And then he was also angered at Kotatsuke for going behind his back. I'm proud of you, Boruto, Naruto would say. It took a lot of guts for you to come here and to do what you did. You've shown a level of maturity that I never even knew. It's nothing. In the end of the day, I know I shouldn't have it. It was only right that I turn it back to you. But still, I don't think they're bad though. I understand that, Boruto, but in the end, these things get in the way. But I have a friend, Naruto would say. Just hear me out, please. His name's Hachimaru. I know him. He's the boy with the prosthetic arm and leg in the Ninja Academy. He's a part of Team Zero. Yeah. Well, the thing is, he really looks up to you. Even though he was born with a birth defect and he's not like the rest of us, he's giving his all to be a shinobi because he's inspired by you. And well, he's been working on inventions, making ninja tools for himself. At the very least, I feel like he should be allowed to use his during the exams. Naruto's ears would perk up, but he allowed Boruto to continue. Look, We shouldn't have tools just gifted to us from the best of the best. That's understandable. That would be cheating. But if someone builds a tool themselves, then shouldn't they be allowed to use them? I mean, this is his only way of being able to truly compete with the best of the best. If he's not able to use his tools, then he's the one working at more of a handicap than he already is. At the very least, you should at least let those who built their own tools their own way the opportunity to show what they can do. Not to make a mockery of the tuning exams, but just to give those who have the desire and the drive the fighting chance to show what they can do on the biggest stage. At the very least, if he succeeds or fails, it should be by him going all out and on his own merit. Naruto thought this over, and Shikamaru would even chime in, saying that there were a lot of bright minds in the ninja world. After all, in the Sand Village, they used puppet jutsu. That could be considered a tool in and of itself, and as long as they made it themselves, or they trained and honed their skills with it, then there was no problem. As long as they didn't have anything professionally made, then they should be allowed to show their skills and what they were capable of. Naruto could sense the logic bubbling around him, and he agreed. Any personal-made tools, whether basic or scientific, Naruto would allow them. Boruto was happy by this, as he thanked his father, before rushing out immediately. Naruto asking where he was going, but Boruto would tell him he had to get ready. He had training tomorrow, and there was no time to waste. Naruto smiled as his son left, and finally Kotatsuke would be called into his office. Kotatsuke would be fired, stripped of his status and removed from the Konoha Science Division Department. His research would be confiscated, and Kotatsuke would be asked to leave. Ultimately, though, Kotatsuke knew this might happen. He didn't even bother trying to resist. Of course, the tyranny of Lord Seventh continues. If you have a problem with me, come out and say it, Naruto would say. I warned you against these things, and more so, you tried to give one to my son? I thought your son was wise. I thought he could be the one to change things around here, that he could see the truth. But now I know your son is as foolish and as weak as you and those who have come before. Naruto would speed blitz Kotatsuke in the room, Shikamaru telling him to calm down. Don't ever talk about my son again. That look in your eyes, Lord Seventh. Your eyes, they're not as perfectly blue as everyone says they are. An imperfection in the great Naruto Uzumaki. Cling to the old ways if you want. What do I care? You can get rid of me, but that doesn't change the fact. As long as I'm around, nothing will ever happen to this village. I guarantee it. Big words, Lord Seventh. But tell me, can you really keep that promise? Whether you like it or not, there will come a day when even the great Naruto Uzumaki will fall. And when that day comes, you will all regret what you've done here. Without me, there is no hope for this village. You all and your pathetic will of fire. This stupid notion that you cling to. When the bodies pile up, when you're left with all that blood on your hand, don't say I didn't warn you. With that, Kotatsuke would leave the Hidden Leaf. As Boruto was ready to continue in his path, the training that was to come, as the Chunin exams loomed ever closer, Kotasuke was not done, especially when he heard the news. The news that Lord Seventh was allowing any genin participating in the Chunin exams to use scientific ninja tools if they were homemade. Kotasuke smiled, as he knew this was an opportunity. It took a couple of days, but eventually he would arrive. He sought an audience with the fire daimyo of the land of fire. The daimyo would allow him to enter, as Kotasuke would make a very appealing proposition. The fire daimyo sat on his throne as Kotasuke entered. "What is your business with me, stranger?" "Great fire daimyo, please lend me your ear. I come bearing a gift." Kotasuke revealed a scientific ninja tool. "What exactly is this?" "A new age, sir. I believe you've been having some troubles with your village. My concerns with the hidden leaf are nothing to do with you." "No, they are not, but I believe you need my help." "And what exactly could you give me?" "The power. Wouldn't you agree that the hidden villages have gotten a bit too high and mighty? Now it seems as though the daimyos have lost all control of their villages. I mean, I heard the report of what happened in the land of flowers. The fact that Lord Seventh would have you go and appeal to the other daimyos, isn't that beneath you? I thought the daimyo was in control, not the Hokage. I am in control. My business with Lord Seventh is my own, and I act on my own discretion. You may see it that way, but that's not what I've been told. I worked for Lord Seventh, and I can safely assure you, the ninja do not respect you the way that you think. It's more so a front, an act to appease you. There is no true fear or loyalty amongst them. Why, they believe they could turn on you at the drop of a hat, and that you would be powerless to stop them. But with this, you could build an army for yourself. A chance for you to finally reestablish the true power. What exactly are you getting at? The Chunin exams are coming up. Let's use that stage to show the ninja where the true power lies. And what exactly would you need from me? Give me 3 children, those appropriate for genin age. I can equip them. I can turn 3 nobodies into the elite of the elite. I don't only promise you a victory, I guarantee it. In fact, the only problem we'll have is figuring out which of the 3 will get first, second, and third. And you guarantee victory in the exams? What exactly would that do for me? It gives you power, my lord. If the ninja know that the daimyos could build their own army capable of wiping out their next generation, they'd have to think twice. Sir, the children of this era are weak and vulnerable. I've seen it with my own eyes. We can crush them. No longer will they question you. No longer will they overstep their bounds of your authority. You can be the one in the driver's seat now. The fire daimyo would think this over. Okay. I'll give you a chance, Kotasuke. Prove to me that this is an investment worth my while, and you will have the full support of the Land of Fire. I also need protection, my lord. I don't want the Leaf seeking retribution. You have my personal seal of approval. I will see to it that no one comes after you. Not even Lord Seventh would challenge me. Kotasuke smiled. Thank you, my lord. Now, let's get to work. This concludes Naruto Polaris, The Fallen Star. What if Hanabi Hyuga was born first? Part 23 of the Momoshiki arc. As always, if you are new to the channel or if you're a regular and like what we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue Re:Zero, Avatar Lost. What if Aang was in Re:Zero? Season 2, Part 5. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.